Kinder team. All right, I have January's Number Corner notes here. This part is the Bridges notes on what Bridges advised this year on what to focus on. You have the 4 bullet points: calendar grid, days in school, computational fluency, and number line. And then Calendar Collector, they're saying, is great, it's enjoyable, but if time is short, you could drop it and don't do it. So in my notes down here, I've included everything so you can decide what kind of things you could incorporate into your classroom and you feel like you have time for. Okay, so calendar grid in a nutshell. You have the buttons. Yep, those buttons. Pete the Cat has a song for that. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. So you could come up with your own, but in this sweater, there's only 3 buttons. So I'd say my 3 groovy buttons. And then when you step it up to this sweater, now you have 4 buttons. I don't know, just for fun. Okay, as you're going through the calendar grid, one main idea is to incorporate number trees each day. So I wouldn't make a number tree for the 1st of January because there is no sweater. It's just the teddy bears talking. Then you get a sweater on January 2nd, but it's 3 buttons, kind of just let them notice that. I wouldn't make a tree on that yet. Then come the 3rd of January, oh my gosh, it's still 3 buttons, but 2 of them are blue and 1 of them's purple. Oh, now is where I could start making a number tree and then say, oh, well, what would the day before, what would that number tree look like then? So that would make more sense instead of trying to start with a number tree with 3 and 0. And so it goes sweater, 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 and then it switches to a vest, but you still have 3 buttons. So now once you get to the 6th of January, you're saying, okay, which one of these number trees is going to describe this vest on January 6th? And it's going to be this one, the 3 and the 0, because 3 of them are the same color. Okay? If you want to include one other thing in the calendar grid, you could try out the 6 buttons problem. So you'll find this in your Number Corner materials. I also linked it right here of the PDF where they actually get to color some different formations of buttons. If they had 6 buttons on a sweater that they're going to get from their grandma or something. Okay, so calendar grid, done. All right, let's go to days in school. Days in school, you're keeping track on the 10 frames, you're keeping track on the links. And now, could you incorporate in a train of 10 in 5 and 5, 5 of one color, 5 of another? Because that'll give another visual of this chain and this 10 frame to say, okay, how many more till we get to a tens number? Oh man, we have 7 right now, so let me take my train of 10 and break it off at 7. How many are we going to have left on our train of 10? We're going to have 3. So it's trying to incorporate now that number tree that we saw in calendar grid also in days in school. Kids could also practice breaking a train of 10 together once a week to write out a number tree on their whiteboard. So we say, okay, you have your train of 10. All right, I want you to break off 6. Okay, so they break off 6. How many do you have left over here? You have 4. Okay, let's make our tree. 10 cubes is the same as 6 and 4 more. Put them together and we have 10. It's kind of a nice visual. Okay. All right, then let's go to computational fluency. There are 2 main activities in computational fluency. Working on doubles, which you guys have been doing a great job of doing that for regular math sessions. But activity 1 is taking your 5-wise cards and your pairwise cards and matching them up. You could also print out these cards on miniature paper, or not miniature paper, but the mini cards on paper. And they could literally do that themselves and like glue it down. Or they could play a memory game with it and match them up that way. Activity 2 is now you're just going to use the double cards the ones that are pairwise and that are considered doubles. And you're going to show them a card like this with the other half covered. And you're going to say, okay, I have a double number, but I'm covering up half of it. What is my number I'm thinking of or that I'm holding up? So they could produce this 3 dots on a 10 frame mat if you wanted to with cubes, or on their number rack, they could produce it, 3 on the top. And then what are we going to do? What's going to be on the bottom that I'm covering up? Another 3, because it's doubled. And what doubled number are we looking at? 6. Yes. 3 is half of 6. Yes, that is the number. Okay. All right. Then number line, another component. There are lots of activities with number line, 4 of them. Peruse those and see what you think on what you could do with your class. The first activity is called roll and hop. So you'd roll a dice numbered 1 to 6, and then we'd start at that 0 card and we would hop that many times and see where we land. So if we roll a 6, you would start at 0, but you're not going to say 0. And then you would show the motion of hopping. And we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And we make our 6 hops and see where we land. We land on 6. Oh, how weird. Okay. Then activity number 2. Play Name My Number. All right, so this is very similar to up top, but all the cards are now, you don't see any of them. So when you roll the dice and you roll a 5, then you say, okay, well, what number do you think we're going to land on if I rolled a 5? Okay, you think 5? All right, let's see if we really do. And then we go 1, 2, 3, and then we put up that card and see what we actually landed on. Oh my gosh, we actually landed on 5. Okay, let's roll again. So let's say you roll a 3 your next time. Oh man, so now we're on 5 and we're going to hop 3 more. Now what number do you think we're going to land on? All right, okay, let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3. Oh man, what number is it going to be? Oh, 8. Okay, and you just keep going like that until you get close to the end of your line. Then up to you whether maybe you want to try going backwards with your class and doing the same type of thing. So now you rolled a 2, and let's say you're on 15. Now we have to go 2 back. So now I'm hopping 2. What number do you think we're going to land on? So you could go forwards and backwards. Activity number 3, you have your butterfly cards and your greater than, less than, and your number path, and you would just up 2 of the numbers that you want to talk about, and you're going to write a comparison statement using these numbers. So now they're going to have to find those numbers in the butterfly cards, and they're going to have to use one of those symbols and put it between the 2 numbers to compare them. You could also just not even use these cards, and you could just have them practice writing a comparison statement on their whiteboard. And feel free, you could use Unifix Cube trains to show them as comparing them together and see which one's taller to see. You could also, to see which one's bigger, you could also say 8 is farther along, so it is bigger, it is greater. Okay, activity number 4, hide and seek with Hap. So it's guess my number, but you are taking Hap here, and you are hiding him behind one of these cards. And then you're using your clips to narrow down the choices, and you're writing up there for them, oh, my number is greater than 6. Oh, you guessed 10. My number is greater than 10. So yeah, that's that idea, okay? And then the final part, calendar collector, that they said you could skip out on if you're down on time. I provided it just in case you want to do it. And as I was looking through it, it's just great counting practice. So here's a PDF to keep track of your totals. But you're spinning and collecting Unifix cubes each day. So spinning a number and a color and seeing how many you get to put in the little container each day. At the end of the week, you're counting up your totals for each color and figuring out which one had the least, which one had the greatest, And then, so see how they counted them using 10 frame mats? So you lay it out on the floor. We're all counting it together, seeing that red is 5, yellow is 7, blue is 8. So blue was the greatest. Which one was the least, fewest, smallest? Red. Okay, awesome. Now let's count you guys this week and get our total amount of cubes. So now we have to put them all together. And what do we have here? So we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, or I could go 10, circle that 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, count on that way, or I could go 10 and another 10. Well, that's a double, that's 20. Okay? So each week would be doing something like that, and then at the end of the month, you compare your totals from 3 weeks of collecting. And you just say, all right, we had 20 the first week, 19 the second week, 18 the third week. We had the most cubes on week 1, the least amount on week 3. And now, how many total cubes is that all together? Yeah, we're going to do 20 plus 19 plus 18. Isn't that nuts? You could do that if you wanted to. This picture here is actually just counting up the total amount of red for the month, the total amount of yellow, and the total amount of blue, and being able to get that visual and seeing which color actually won for our entire month. Because red might have won one of the weeks, but it might not win for the entire month. So those are all the ideas in Number Corner for the month of January. Good luck and math on.